we're good?
We're good?
Yeah.
Movie dicks. We are Movie Dicks. Welcome to the Stuck on Rewind channel, home of fun family entertainment for, your particularly deranged uncles and weird cousins. I'm Tristan, and
I'm Zach.
And I am Josh.
And we are the Movie Dicks. Movie Dicks.
Great job, Tristan.
Oh, thanks. You told me to experiment. I thought I'd start with some
I know,
acid.
I like it. Right? Oh, shit. Let me know when the peak starts.
Alright, cool. It'll probably be around the time that flames start shooting out of the side of my face.
Enlightenment.
Yeah, right.
We always knew you were flaming.
Oh! And we watched a movie this week. What movie did we watch this week?
Well, you think you picked it this week.
It's your pick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mystery. I can't recall.
Well, let's look through all the clues and see if we can put it together.
Thanks a lot. We did watch Clue this week, 1985. Flop, then cult classic. And described by the esteemed professors at Wikipedia as an ensemble black comedy mystery film based on the board game of the same name. The film was directed by Jonathan Lynn, first-time director. Collaboration with John Landis. It was actually his idea to do the movie, and Lynn ended up writing and directing. Starring an ensemble cast of such great heavy hitters. Like, a lot of these guys were on their way up as this movie was being filmed. Tim Curry, Eileen Brennan, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean, Martin Mull, lesser known, and Leslie Ann Warren. This film was produced by Deborah Hill. What'd you guys think of the movie?
I mean, Eileen Brennan was on her way up, but I think that was about it. Like, cat name. How is Martin Mull the least notable person in your mind? Martin Mull is a legend.
Well, this was real. He was comparatively very early on in his career. So he felt like a newcomer. He admitted himself that he felt a bit sheepish around these guys. Like, Tim Curry had already made a notable name for himself based on Rocky Horror fame. He was the most recognizable outside of Madeline Kahn. And Christopher Lloyd, of course, had just come off of his role on Taxi. That was sort of his big breakout comedy role. Michael McKean had just come off of This Is Spinal Tap. I don't know much about Leslie Ann Warren, actually. But Madeline Kahn had just done Blazing Saddles in the 70s and all those other great Mel Brooks films.
Oh, that's who. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she was Lily Von Shtupp in in Blazing Saddles. She was the one, I forget what her character name was in Young Frankenstein, but like she's the one who ends up banging the monster. And she goes into like operatic voice every
assistant.
time they'd make it.
Not Frau Blucher, but the other one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she has the only scene in Blazing Saddles is a perfect movie, except that musical number. I've never found that funny about her being tired. I don't get what the joke is there, but that's another thing,
I think the brilliance just is in you're supposed to be trying so hard, like as a performer, you're supposed to make an effort of some kind. And she's just resigned to it. I don't know, because out on the frontier, the assumption is that if you were, unfortunate enough to be a woman or a performer out on the prairie or whatever the fuck in the Wild West.
Well, she's a prostitute.
Yeah, but all more to the point, you're getting banged until you're just, oh my god, aching and just tired, so tired.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I don't know. She charms the heck out of me every time I see her in something. She's probably my favorite part of this movie. What about you, Josh? What was your take home here?
Really?
Well, it's a fast-paced movie, and it really demands your attention completely, which I'm going to be honest, I didn't give it my full attention. And there's a lot of like subtle things that are happening throughout the scenes with like placement of objects, and there's lots of inside jokes. First of all, let's just start. I never played the game Clue as a kid. That was not my game. I had a cousin who liked it, and she tried to make me play it one time, and I was just like, no, thank you. Like, I was more about risk. I wanted war. I didn't want like to solve the murder. I wanted to be the murderer. I guess that says a lot about me. But like, it was not my thing. So like, a lot already there's going to be like little inside jokes. Like, I guess for example, it's like the color of the cars were all representative of the color of the pieces of the character. So like that was like, oh, ho, ho, like I get it because I like the game. So like already like a lot's being given to that. Those details are being given to the audience who knows what's up.
But they're not wearing the colors. Is what's
no, they're not wearing it. No, they
are.
Guess, but I wouldn't have known that anyway unless you said
Miss
something.
Scarlet is wearing green. Mrs. White is wearing black. It's
yes.
It's not completely on the nose like you think it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it did come off cartoonish. Yeah, because it could have come like a cartoon. This is like the first time someone tried to turn a board game into a movie, and I guess that ended in the Amazing Battleship movie, but that's for another time. God. So just to like get through real quick, right? It's very fast paced. It demands your attention. The jokes are quick. It's fine. I have no problem with that. A lot of them didn't land. They're very product of their time sort of jokes. Like the one guy's like, "Oh, I'm gay," and then they all kind of like move away from him. Like, I get it. That's so 80s, like, haha. But like, it doesn't age
this is
great.
Also an 80s movie like that's being shot in the 50s. Like the milieu is the 50s.
True. So yeah, you have that element on top of it. True. So real quick too. Real fast, and this is kind of jumping to the end a little bit, but I just wanted to like add that with the multiple endings, I feel that like that kind of like when it comes to a movie, it's a murder mystery movie.
Right.
And as the audience is supposed to participate in the film, like these are the clues that are being presented to me. These are the motives that each person has. Mm-hmm. And I have a place in trying to figure it out. But being that there's 3 different endings removes the audience's participation from the film. And it's like it could have been anything. There was no wrong answer. There's no wrong. Well, I guess there were some wrong ones, but there was also a 4th ending, but that was never shot.
Right.
But I guess 3 was enough.
They scrapped it. The writer-director Lynn didn't think it was strong enough, so 3 was what they went
fair. They don't even remember what it was, apparently. Like the writer doesn't remember whatsoever, which is fair. But I feel like so what with the audience is like you're giving all this information. Theoretically, we can deduce who could have done it and why with what, but it didn't matter because there's 3 different endings, so everyone's right, everyone's wrong. Ha ha ha.
Well, you have to understand kind of the context of the reason why they did that. This is I guess a comparison would be like when a movie came out when we were kids and they had McDonald's toys, and you wanted to build the whole thing, so you had to keep going back time and time again to get them all. And they originally did have the 3 different endings, but you only got one ending when you went to see it in theaters.
Right.
That's
different
the gimmick
theaters
of the film.
Yeah, as a marketing ploy, they hope that people
so they're
keep
trying to
going
get people
back.
to go 3 separate times, and even with that, it's still bombed. So
we're talking a 20-minute shorter film too. If you just show one ending,
it's not a very long movie either. It's still like, wow, that's like a 70-minute movie if you only had one ending. Wow,
that's absurdly short. Yeah. So you're paying full price to see a movie 3 times. That's an hour and 10 minutes, and you're never really wrong or never really right. Oh boy!
It had a $15 million budget, and it made $14.5 million. So it was so close to just breaking even.
That took years, I believe. I think the opening weekend was $2 million. So it started as a legitimate bomb. Like Roger Ebert, I love his. I love some of the reviews, and Roger Ebert says one ending is. He said one ending is more than enough, and I feel that like that was spot on. We didn't need 3 endings. This isn't the board game; it's a film. Please, just let us figure it out and give us a concrete whodunit.
Even when they get to the ending, Tim Curry. I mean, it's really he does some amazing, just a great performance. But he runs through it so quickly that you can't really figure out. Like I've seen this movie probably 3-4 times. I still to this day couldn't tell you what really any of the endings were about or who even did it at the end.
I don't have an Adderall prescription. It's really hard to figure out. I feel like I had to like be on speed to like maybe be able to focus on like what exact the details of what was going on. So I feel like there's like if you asked me, any of the details of who actually did it with what and which circumstance, I couldn't tell you anything. There's so many, and it came so fast.
There's so many different secret passages.
I know.
All this stuff is like, then we went here and
Well, there was a lot of cocaine going around in Hollywood. So
Yeah, that could have definitely been an influence. The writer at the time, what was his face?
oh, actually,
John Landis.
The legendary John Landis.
Well, he actually. So a little background on this point. Landis had the idea for the Clue movie, and him and Deborah Hill, the producer, they were both really excited about this as a film concept. Already had because the board game itself doesn't actually have a plot, right? So he formulated one out of making it a blackmail plot and so forth, and he brought it to Lynn, who ended up being the writer and director of this movie. John Landis was supposed to direct this movie because he had the whole concept ready to go. He just needed a writer to actually figure out. He had the whole plot up until that tricky wicket of okay, how do we solve this?
Yeah.
and he actually put the task on Lynn to I want 4 different endings that'll all make sense so that we can do this movie gimmick to get people to keep coming back. So this was a massive intellectual challenge for any writer to figure out, oh, okay, it's an unsolvable crime. I now need to create 4 different endings for it that all somehow make sense with the rest of the movie. So
but
he did that.
Simultaneously. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Yeah, simultaneously. So they're all supposed to work, and he managed to do that. By the time that Lynn he was an Englishman, so he wasn't part of Hollywood at this time. He was his only credit had been working on the production of a British mystery comedy theater sort of thing that was big on BBC. And
What kind of shows in this?
Yeah, so it was up his alley, but this is his first writing credit in a movie, and by the time he finished the script, Landis had already agreed to direct Spies Like Us. The comedy, it was Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd starring.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor.
Yeah, it's a great one too if you ever check it out. Just John Landis is amazing, obviously, but yeah. So he had dumped this. He decided, well, Lynn, you've got a theater background and you're English, so you'll figure it out. You can direct this movie, right? And he did. This was his first directing credit. And the clippedness of it that you guys are hitting on, he basically took the whole cast out to see the old movie His Girl Friday. It was a black and white from the 40s. It has
Cary Grant.
Exactly, yeah, Cary Grant. So he wanted that really clipped, fast pace for the dialogue, especially from Tim Curry's character, because he's reciting the fucking encyclopedia backwards, basically.
He describes it as the Bible. His script was the Bible in density.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. And so much a challenge, they actually had to do lots of rehearsals, almost like a stage play, just to get it done.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do like that. That there was definitely a very big kind of British stage show kind of feel to the whole thing. It takes place in one central. There's different rooms, but it really all kind of takes place in that main foyer. Tim Curry's performance, especially, really kind of harkens back to these old school kind of British actors. It reminded me a lot of when I was in London once. I went to see Hitchcock's 39 Steps. They made it into a play, but there's only 4 people in the entire play. There's the main character, there's a girl, and then there's 2 men who play every other character. And so it's just them kind of running around doing different things, different voices, things like that. Just kind of the pacing. You see a lot of the very old Hitchcock, the British Hitchcock, Lady Vanishes, 39 Steps, era Hitchcock. A lot of Agatha Christie, I got a lot of vibes from Then There Were None and Orient Express and the other Agatha
Well, the thing
Christie
is,
stuff.
Then There Was None. That's kind of the film that inspired Clue in a lot of ways. But in that one, the actual players would be killed off instead of this one where it's just supposed to be. Well, the board game, I guess, it was just Mr. Body who dies. When in this one, they kill off a few people.
And the cook and eventually Colette.
Well, in the film, yeah,
Well, 6 different people do die, but that's the problem is we don't invest in any of these people. Like the singing telegram girl played by Janie Weedland from the Go-Go's, actually. dies within 5 seconds. So
which is
who cares?
kind of hilarious in some ways. Like you take someone,
it is hilarious, yeah.
that's
But
and I'll give it credit in that area. It's like you get no time for an investment whatsoever or anything. And it's so bizarre.
and they're stacking the probably one of the funniest parts is when they're pretending to make out with the dead bodies to throw the cops off.
Oh yeah, and that classic
Pretending.
50s era swing tune, shaboom shaboom.
Oh my god. Should we go over some of the positives? Because I can get to the negatives, and I know I've been pretty negative so far, but I'm willing to go through some positives.
Really, that all sounded really positive to me.
Oh, my intro part? Oh, Summer Child.
You guys are like embodying the spirit of Roger Ebert right now and his ultimate disdain for this movie when it came out.
No, I don't get the pure hatred, because I feel like, especially amongst later generations, a lot of millennials, everyone who I know who's seen this movie has enjoyed it. But I think that's part of it is you get all three of the endings when you watch it.
Yeah.
So you get the full experience here. I can understand paying $10, $15 to watch a 70-minute movie with one ending, and you only get one of them. And some of the endings aren't as good as the other ones. I don't know, even I believe Siskel and Ebert both agreed that the first ending was the best, and the third one was probably the worst. And they do kind of get more ridiculous as they go along, but the
third one is like the biggest twist, right? It's the most unlikely one. It makes a lot.
Wait, so let's clarify. What are the three endings? First of all, let's cover this.
Oh, don't make me do this.
That's a good question.
Don't make me do this.
One thing I do remember is that in the third one, Michael McKean isn't actually gay, and the movie ends with the quote, "I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife."
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
He's got that great smile on his face when the camera just snapshots on him. Oh, it's
when
beautiful.
it comes to the order of the ones they shot, that one makes the most sense when they picked it as the third, because it's the most 180 on the characters.
Well, because it turns out that Tim Curry was Mr. Body the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. That was the biggest twist. There's more twists in that third one than there was in the other one. The other one's is more straightforward and more explanatory.
Yeah. So I can, I think, enumerate them based on who the killers are in each one. So
okay, let's hear it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the first one, Miss Scarlet is the killer. She's the one with the handgun in her purse.
She's a strong character in the film.
Yes.
Played by the inimitable Janet. Susan Sarandon.
It wasn't Susan Sarandon.
That wasn't Sarandon.
Yes, it
looks
was.
like her.
No.
I thought it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
It's not.
No fucking
Leslie
way.
Ann Warren.
Yeah.
Holy shit, are you serious?
It's her doppelganger.
Dude, they are almost identical. What the hell?
We'll get into Rocky Horror and all the things they were trying to recreate Rocky Horror, obviously. We'll get to that more later, but I also did think it was Susan Sarandon for a bit.
Holy shit, dude, I've had this wrong the whole time and I picked the movie. I guess I'm just I'm fangirling it. I want it to be I want it to be the fan fiction of Rocky Horror remade in my mind.
Alternative.
They should have had Richard O'Brien play Professor Plum.
Oh no! That would you can't beat Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd is so subtle, the part where it's revealed that Michael McKean is gay. People would just do a jump, whereas you only very subtly see the disgust.
He just crosses his legs, and then eventually gets up.
Not for me, good sir. Thank you.
What I loved about that character, was they cast the psychiatrist, in the 50s, we would have been a classic Freudian, right? As, a total sex fiend. He's totally obsessed. He's always trying to get laid or get into somebody's pants.
From the first scene when he picks up the girl whose car broke down.
Yeah, exactally.
Well, he has a Kinsey or a Masters and Johnson kind of a...
there we go.
Yeah.
Is this what started his typecasting? Is the more, eccentric, intellectual type?
Yeah.
I think it might have been, because before that he was in Taxi is more working man, right? And
he was a working man, but he was known as the Reverend because he had these long sort of sermons that he'd just go into.
Okay, got you.
But
of course, this was 2 years before the thing he'll always be remembered for. Of course, Back to the Future.
Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think this probably helped him get that position or that job. Yeah, and then basically set him as that type of character the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Except for maybe like family values and stuff like that.
I mean, he'd already been a really consistent bit player for 20, 25 years. He was like we were discussing before we got on the podcast. He's one of his first roles was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He appears in all these little things, just kind of working his way up. And I think he was almost 50 years old when they did Back to the Future. So really,
he's a late bloomer.
Yeah.
For sure. And actually, point of order, Christopher Lloyd is actually a member of Mensa. So dude is actually legit brilliant.
Okay. So maybe that helps
I would believe that.
But yeah, he's just fantastic. And like the point in the middle where everybody splits up, part of
that old trope.
Yeah, that old trope. But I love how everyone ends up being paired with exactly who they wouldn't want to be with.
Yes.
And
Michael McKean has to go with the French maid that everyone else wants.
With the huge boobs. Like, of course, he's Yvette. The one. Yeah, Yvette.
She's the one character's name who I remembered. I'm not going to lie. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Go on. But she was supposed to be casted by Carrie Fisher, but Carrie Fisher ended up going to rehab.
I thought that was supposed to be Miss Scarlet, actually.
Was it Miss Scarlet? I thought it was Carrie Fisher. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm mixing the two up.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher was supposed to be.
Carrie Fisher was supposed to be Miss Scarlet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was in rehab.
Should have made a good Yvette. Yeah.
And one of the choices that they wanted for Wadsworth before Tim Curry was Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, he was making a name for himself with Blackadder over in the UK, but of course nobody in the States had heard of him at all.
Blackadder was Mr. Bean.
Oh, goodness gracious. That would have been an interesting cast, actually.
Yeah.
That might have worked.
Yeah, and Tim Curry even said the same thing after the fact. He wasn't aware that he was not the first choice.
I was under the impression a lot of the characters were pretty near the first choice.
Yeah.
Most of them were, which is rare.
Yeah, and Tim. So with the whole split up thing, I just love like Christopher Lloyd's bit where he has the shortest matchstick and he brings it to like Eileen Brennan's character, Miss Peacock, right? She's like the old lady, and he just looks at her real hard. He's like, "Looks like it's you and me, honey bunch." It's just so sexual. He drops the match all fucking dramatically.
He's like a classic creepy uncle where he can be endearing and wise a lot of the times, but a lot of times it just comes off as sad and just kind of creepy overall.
Yeah, or like the slow like wind up when Miss Scarlet reveals that she actually runs an escort service, and he takes out his pad. He's like, "What's the number?"
Yeah, him and Martin Mull, just really they try to come across as being adult and mature, just end up looking ridiculous. Like the part where they're talking about how Martin Mull, he's like, "Oh, did you have a lot of money?" "Yeah, but then my mommy and daddy died."
Oh yeah, it's so fucking sad.
Just jokes like that. I mean, the jokes in general in this movie. This is my third time seeing it. This is one of those movies you could watch over and over again, and you get something new every time because they don't. You need to really just kind of tune in and pay attention because the jokes they don't really add any kind of pauses. There's no laugh tracks. None of the people in the movie react to the jokes, and that's really where the humor is. You need to kind of know they're there. It's that kind of Doctor Strange of, you can't fight here, this is the war room, that kind of idea. Or it really reminded me of there's a film a few years ago called The Death of Stalin, which I really enjoyed, where it's very serious, people dying, and Stalin is Russia, but all kinds of just one-liners and ridiculous puns like this that just go really, really super fast. And I guess from there we can get into my favorite part of the movie, which was of course, Tim Curry. I'd say probably 90% of the jokes in this are just Tim Curry reacting to the things these people say. And it's just going very, very, very quickly. And his performance is so physical. Tim Curry really, I don't think anyone else could have done quite such an amazing job as he does. Really, the whole cast is good, but the movie is Tim Curry in my mind.
Yeah, no, he's a huge linchpin of this whole fucking production because, like, you need to carry that fucking Butler role. And he had clearly the chops for it. Like, he made Rocky Horror what it was. And I think
this is an ignorant question. I'm sorry. Is he American?
No, he's British.
Oh, he's British. Okay, because he's like his accent is almost that like intellectual American sounding, not quite very British.
It's It's what you call
Sorry.
the Mid-Atlantic.
Yes, exactly. He has
Wait.
a very Mid-Atlantic style.
Yeah, of course there is no Middle Atlantic because it's a fucking ocean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like that Cary Grant like sweet spot between. It was very
Yes.
popular in the 50s and 40s as a movie star like dialect. You're not English, you're not American, you're like Mid-Atlantic.
Well, this was still the age where, British boys were sent off to boarding school where, here we care about, writing and being able to read the English language. There, you also need to learn to speak it properly. So, these are classes you would go to where they would, whatever kind of low country accent that you had when you come in would be kind of caned out of you, and you were made to speak like a proper Englishman.
English,
Not like a
motherfucker,
Cockney
do you
thug.
speak it?
But
Yeah, absolutely.
before we regress, you were going on about the three endings and who done it.
Oh, right. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Wow. Thank you for reconnecting the thread there, bud.
right.
So yeah, first, Miss Scarlet is the murderer. She got rid of her informants that she used to pump secrets out of via her escort service girls. Very classical spy trope. And Wadsworth is of course the cop who gets his man or whatever. Second ending,
The killer was a man?
yeah, and neither is the killer a man in the second one. Eileen Brennan is the murderer in the second one, and this was sort of the biggest flop of an ending for me. The sort of that fell sort of flat.
She's a jolly good
fellow.
fellow.
She's a jolly good fellow. Yeah.
I'm like, what movie is this? When that, yeah.
Well, she killed all the people that were blackmailing us. So awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, true.
And the third one, everybody's killed everyone except for Michael McKean, of course, who ends up being the actually straight FBI agent.
Thank God.
Yeah, the third ending was kind of like, when you're doing a play in high school and you have so many performances, and then the last few performances, everyone kind of, I guess, improvs or goes off book just because they're almost done. They don't really care at that point. Because even the jokes in the third ending were kind of exaggerated. Like, there was the part where she's like, "Oh, it's the FBI always gets their man," and McKean says, "What? She was a man?" And they all just kind of look at him like, dude, even they knew that the jokes had gotten just ridiculous at that point. So they're really that third ending. I think in a way, Lynn was even he knew he was phoning it in, and that was almost kind of the humor about it from that third ending.
For sure. And so just to bring back actually a point you were making earlier, Zach, about I really appreciated that lack of a laugh track in this, and that you don't really know what to laugh at. I think that's one of the underrated and seldom missed aspects that's key to making a great cult film. There needs to be dead space for the audience to make of it what they will, sort of thing.
Yeah. It was like how in all three endings, there's only one joke that's said three different times, but Curry delivers them differently each time, and that's no, communism was just a red herring.
Yeah. That fucking thing. They had to get that same fucking pun in every time.
But probably my favorite line from Curry was Professor Plum was he's like, Professor Plum used to specialize in the treatment of psychotics and narcissists. Yes, but now I work for the UN. So you're still in the same business.
I love
just line after line from Curry, just like that. He's like, oh, well, you accused me of being un-American, so you blackmailed him? Yeah, what's more American than that?
Lynn had some great lines in this. There's such zingers if you're keyed in and tuned in enough. My favorite burn on Tim Curry's burn on Colonel Mustard. It's like, you make oh fuck, I can't remember it. Come back. I'll come back to it. But sort of like, I don't need any help from you making a fool of myself. He's like, no, you don't. That's right. And that's right.
Yeah, I was watching. I was trying to think. I was like, who does Tim Curry remind me of? And I realize he's kind of the Groucho Marx of this movie. Because if you watch a Marx Brothers movies, you know, all the characters are pretty normal. You know, they make you know, they make decisions and characterization things that go with the plot. Whereas Groucho Marx always exists simply just in the movie, just to be almost above everything and just to make jokes. And he's this almost kind of omnipotent. It's like if we were playing a game, he'd be the dungeon master or something. And Curry just kind of exists to move things along and make jokes. And it seems like he's not in the movie so much as he's kind of commenting on it, just really forcing things to happen. I don't know. It's an interesting kind of dynamic because really the whole movie is built upon him and that character. And
yes and no, like you're onto something, but I definitely don't take it as far as like they would in Groucho Marx film, where he's still it's still grounded. He's not like as high into the clouds and all powerful as Groucho Marx would be. It would have been interesting if they did make him like a more Groucho Marx character and made it so he did it like observational comedy, like looked at the camera and said a joke and winked sort of thing. But
yeah, you almost feel like he's about to multiple times, but he doesn't. And that's another.
He's always at the edge. He's edging you, like in that sort of like situation.
The trickster god of edging.
Yes, exactly. It comes off like that a little bit.
Yeah, Groucho, you feel like he wants to, you know, have like a rim shot playing in the background, whereas Curry just moves right on to the next line. It goes so fast that you don't even like. Wait, was that a joke? I didn't.
If this was spoken, if the dialogue was spoken at a more normal pace, this could have been like a 2-hour movie with just the one ending.
Yeah, but they wanted to keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Like most of this film is like calisthenics. They're fucking running for like half the movie.
Yeah,
literally
especially when Curry reveals the murders. He does it. He's like, oh, and then Miss Scarlet ran here and did this and this. Went to the secret passage, and he goes so fast and acts the whole thing out. And it's just his. You can really see how he started off in as a theatrical stage actor because he's very physical. He's just kind of projects the whole thing. I really just can't overemphasize just how great he is in this movie and just the amount of work that he does to really sell the whole thing.
Yeah, and they look like when the running starts happening again, they're going from place to place at the end, and he's revealing it all. Like you bring back the comic like soundtrack of bum 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 bum, like every fucking time. Really like bumped it up for me because it drags a little bit in the middle.
Definitely, I tuned out in the middle quite a bit.
It seemed like they brought in way too many people to kill. At a certain point, it was like you're just killing more people now.
Yeah, but they make it like a beating a dead horse gag because eventually they like go outside and there's like the singing telegram girl on the front porch and like none of them are even reacting.
Right away.
None of them are even reacting anymore. They're like, and they close the door on her. But
well, I want to hear some of Josh's thoughts about Tim Curry. I know he's a huge Tim Curry fan. Isn't that right, Josh?
No, he's trying to get me to admit to something that is true, that I don't really like Tim Curry very much. I'm very lukewarm to Tim Curry. I've never heard like, oh, Tim Curry's in this movie. I'm like, oh, neat. And I never felt the need to see a film because he was in it, which is true with a lot of actors, but him particularly, I'm very.
Well, we're gonna take the pot off that in a second.
Yes,
but y'all have you seen that meme? That's which like one? you can tell a lot about a person based on what their initial like experience of Tim Curry was.
Mm.
Like what is your go-to memory? Your first exposure to Tim Curry?
Me personally was probably It. I believe
that's a great one.
Yeah, well, which is probably my favorite character that he's done is probably that one. It's still very schlocky. Yeah, but it's still so schlocky. I see him as like a charming schlock actor. You know, he does like these low grade films, but adds a little class to them. But like for some reason, these low grade schlocky films that have class make me feel uncomfortable. It's kind of like people pretending to be something they're not, sort of thing. And I'm just like, it turns me off, and just like whatever. I'm not interested.
Yeah, he is the lipstick on most pigs.
Yes, 100%.
He's like Bruce Campbell. You know, like all of his movies aren't good, but Bruce Campbell is always
amazing.
The best part of the film. Yeah, I could see that. He definitely sticks out in everything I know he's in. You know, like that's for sure. Like he's good. I'm not saying like he's bad at what he does. I'm just saying that what he does doesn't interest me. Like it's never been like something I've been about. I definitely don't like Rocky Horror. I'm gonna. I know. I
Shots
don't like
fired.
it.
That's what I want to get into. But I mean, as far as memories, Tristan and I are quite a bit younger than you, so I think we'll probably have partially some of the same memories. One that may not have realized as a kid was that
Nigel Thornberry.
Yes, Nigel Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries.
I thought it would
grew
be
up
that.
loving that. Smashing.
It's so
Happy.
good. And he really
then-
intones the size of the man's nose.
Yes.
It's probably
And then-
like memories of his grandfather or something.
And then the other thing I think we'll probably agree on is Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh my god, yes. That was my first exposure to him, definitely. Playing Long John Silver.
Yeah,
And then I found out later that he was in not only Rocky Horror, but also that he was the original clown in It. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Just
It was my second, no, it's probably third. Yeah, it goes like Muppet Treasure Island, Wild
Thornberries.
Thornberries, and then It. And then Rocky Horror.
Yeah, I remember
What
I told my
else?
friend that he's in Rocky Horror and he sings, and he's like, "What, that guy sings? His voice is so like dainty and weird." It's like, no, he can project,
Fucking
some of the
belts.
time when he really wants to. Yeah. So Tim Curry, I think is I want to say he's underrated, but he doesn't show up in a lot of things, but when he does, he's very effective and just really memorable, and it had just a great career. Actually, here's an interesting piece of trivia. In the recent Clone Wars TV series, he did the voice of Palpatine.
Really.
Oh my god.
Something dark side.
Actually, no, here's an earlier one that I'd completely forgotten about because you don't recognize it's Tim Curry. He was the role of Rooster in the Annie film from the 1980s, which I grew up watching as a kid.
Oh shit. Did you ever see that one, Josh?
No.
Yeah,
no.
dude. I think I saw the beginning to that movie like a dozen times on TV, and I never followed through.
Yeah. No.
I get to the first song, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a musical." No.
Yeah. There's no swearing, and it's a musical. I can do South Park the musical, but yeah, I have limits.
Yeah, one of the greatest musicals ever made.
Yeah, that's
course.
the only musical I've completely memorized in that. I've seen that probably 50 times.
Yeah, there's some okay music. What the fuck's that movie? Sweeney Todd. There we go.
Sweeney Todd is good.
Yeah, that was actually surprisingly okay. I like that one enough.
And you don't like Rocky Horror?
I don't like
You
Rocky
fucking
Horror.
Philistine.
I am such a Philistine. I am sorry.
And here's another cameo from Tim Curry, the concierge in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yes. Him and Donald Trump have scenes together, I believe, in the hotel.
I don't know if they're in scenes together, but Trump's
they
only
not
in
the-
for a few seconds. He
Is
just
it
kind
only a
of
few
gives Kevin
seconds? Okay,
directions.
it's the
and
same
walks
hotel,
away.
but they're not together. Okay.
Yeah, that was the Plaza because at one point Trump was the owner of the Plaza, so they filmed it there.
And also, if you guys forget or just completely avoided this terrible film altogether, Scary Movie 2.
Oh, I've seen it,
Yes,
and
Yeah.
I try to block it from my memory. I can say that much.
for probably the worst of those movies.
Yes, by a mile.
Really, I heard that. Isn't there 4 or 5 now? Someone
There's-
recently, a friend of
yeah.
mine, told me like the new one that's on
4
Netflix
wasn't
is
terrible.
unwatchable.
Dude, wait, I think we're thinking of the same person. He was recently forced to
Yes,
watch it. Yeah.
yes.
I saw him last week, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he told me the same thing. He said it was like unwatchable, but he
Yeah,
finished
dude.
it. I was like, you didn't have to. You can turn it off at any point, man.
It's easier to bear when there are other souls, present, putting themselves through the same torturous loss. of 2 hours.
Simultaneously, though, like he said that it wasn't the sort of movie that's so bad it's good. It didn't have that sort of quality, Like recently, I've seen so many bad movies, and what makes a bad movie good is that you and your friends can riff at it together, But sometimes movies so bad it just sucks the life out of you, and it just becomes too much. And that's what Scary Movie really is. It tries so hard to be funny. There's nothing worse than a comedy that has no laughs in it. That's so painful.
Well, and that's the thing. This is, again, my point here about cult films. Like, there needs to be dead space for you to be able, and because it creates that pocket of riffable material. You can react to it in the space. That's why Rocky Horror is full of callbacks now. It's because there's all these awkward pauses in it. What do you call Jello in hell? Miller. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, he's making a you're making a Shadowcast reference. I see.
Yes. I was at one point one of those awkward fucking volunteers who spend their midnights wasting away in a theater mirroring a film.
Yeah, I've been to a few of those. They used to have one not too far from me down at the Warner Grand. They closed that one up now.
That was Midnight Insanity. That was the first cast I went to see.
But of course, the most popular one in the LA area where we're based is, of course, the one at the New Art.
Ah, yes, Sins of the Flesh.
Sins of the Flesh, that's right, yeah.
And,
been to that one a few times.
Oh, yeah. And I know a lot of people in that cast, and they actually do Clue as a shadow cast at least once a year because of, like, the Rocky Horror, like, crossover of Tim Curry, and he's in a mansion. The mansion looks almost identical.
It's a matte painting. It's a pretty nice matte painting.
Yeah. Except they in this one, they do actually use... they did rent an actual mansion in Hollywood someplace for $1 million of their $8 million budget.
What movie did?
For Clue.
I thought it was all shot on set. I thought that's what I read.
No, they actually used a proper mansion for this. $1 million of the budget went towards it, and many of the cast had fond memories of like hanging out in the billiard room for the most part. And they, the billiard table itself was always slanted. They figured that out pretty quick, and they like propped it up so that they could play games between scenes.
They may have filmed some of the peripheral rooms in a studio, but that foyer where probably half the movie takes place, I think, because they got to do a full 360 thing. It'll be a bit easier to do it in there than rebuilding it. Probably the idea.
True.
And they needed to have a space for those chandeliers to fall.
Yeah, at the end, towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Apparently,
but, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Fun bit of trivia. What's his name who plays Colonel Mustard? He nearly gets killed by it, right? When the chandelier falls, the fun gun goes off, strikes the chandelier. Apparently he was terrified because recently John Landis had, like, on the movie set of Twilight Zone, the movie, a bunch of people had died, like, because of some kind of prop accident like that, some kind of a falling, like, object. Like, he was embroiled in a lawsuit about that with the cast members who had died on Twilight Zone, the movie. So the actor already had, like, that in the back of his head, and then the prop master, like, apparently did a really good drunk impression. He, like, went up to her right before the scene, was like, "Wrong guy, hope this works out. I mean, just stand on your mark, and we'll figure it out."
Well, when the chandelier falls, you can see him kind of sit down, grab his heart. I thought he was going to have a heart attack, and that was going to be one of the jokes was that he killed himself in a way, but then they don't really go through that. But it looks like he's about to have a heart attack when that happens.
And I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about, I don't know, a lot of stage productions I've been in. Like, it's kind of a tradition to do pranks backstage, but only if it ultimately aids the show. And that's definitely one of those pranks.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, I guess we should just go a little more into Tim Curry, I guess, because we're...
No, come on. There's other stuff to talk about. Like, fucking... well, Josh, you were making a point earlier before I tore into that story.
Which part? Which point was I making?
I want to hear what you think about Rocky Horror is what I want to hear. But
oh, yeah.
We don't have to do that now.
Come on, out with it.
No, about Rocky Horror and what I think about it?
Yeah.
I think it's weird and unenjoyable and aesthetically repulsive. And every character involved, and, like, every song, every movement, every shot is like glistened sweat from, like, an old dying person's body who's, like, in an overheated, like, emergency room bed, and it's just painful. I just imagine that's what you watch in Hell's Waiting Room, and it's just, I can't do it.
We're not talking about shock treatment.
No, exactly. I'm gonna put that tirade of yours into the description for this episode, just
Please
so we can get more watches.
Yeah, we need to clip that. That's been one of the best moments so far.
Yes, I mean, But I mean, but hey, if you like it, that's cool. I get the appeal. Just for me, I find it repulsive.
Well, have you been to any midnight shadow cast where there's
I've not been to a screening. I've had friends who go. I have plenty of friends who like it and talk about it. I know the Virgin thing. I know all the like weird, crazy behavior that takes part in that theater.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a super secret. I know, right? No, it's not. They talk. And maybe there's parts I don't know, but it definitely didn't sound interesting to me. Like I just couldn't imagine a situation where you could sucker me into going. I suppose.
Oh, it definitely sucks you in.
Yeah, I mean.
But Josh, there's lots of fishnets and nudity and.
Look, I don't want to sound like I'm not a progressive.
But on top of that, sometimes the girls will dress up as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's just not my thing. I didn't grow up in LA. Maybe you guys are LA guys, and that's why you like it. Like that sort of life is like fine. Not to say it's not fine. It's something you've experienced. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. I swear there isn't. But it's like, yeah, where I'm from.
You just think it plays in Hell's Waiting Room.
I just think it plays in Hell's Waiting Room. It's charmless. It is. Oh my god. Sorry. But hey,
wow.
Each their own.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So,
does anyone have a counter argument? I didn't see any. Like you guys are just nodding in agreement, but you like it. Like what is the appeal?
The appeal.
Well, you don't like any of the songs either. Like if you like nothing about it, like I think the songs are catchy. It's good to sing along. You dance and do the time warp, and if you don't like any of that, then what can I say?
Yeah, man. I mean, scantily clad young women all over the place is kind of a huge draw. At least it was for me at the start.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When the first time I went to see the New Art showing, I forget what it is, but that there's a certain performing arts high school in Orange County. I forget its name, but I'd say half a dozen girls from that school went to that showing that night, and they all dressed up. And so that was, part of my teenage, you're not getting anything else. You can see girls your age, scantily clad, dressed up, hang out with your friends. You get to swear at the screen.
Yeah.
I can see how as you get older, it kind of loses some of its appeal, but,
maybe that's the thing.
As a teenager,
it introduced me way
great.
Later. Like, I knew it existed, but it's subculture I was not involved with.
Yeah, it's very much a primal teenage experience.
Yeah, I can see that. And then if you grew up with it, in that respect, you could maybe have romantic, nostalgic notions and be like, oh, this was great back when I was a kid, and then you'll be 40 years old sitting in the theater.
And they're there.
Yeah.
You better believe they're there.
I bet. And they're wearing corsets and it's they maybe shouldn't be. And it would be it would be an interesting experience, a good time for all who are involved. That's great. It's just not for me.
Oh man! Just to get into a few other characters, because I do think there's more to this movie casting wise than just Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Well, we've done Tim Curry.
That's true.
We've done multiple guys.
But Madeline Kahn really is she's the ultimate understated performance in this for me, because. It's one of those things where they're not laugh out loud moments, and you have to be very subtly watching her in order to do understand what she's doing. But there are some moments when when she's talking about her dead husbands or whatever. I can't remember, but towards the end
with the spider and the flies.
Yeah,
that analogy.
Yeah, actually, it's Tim Curry's burn on her. It's not a man in the world would be, let alone with you. But no, things when Wadsworth is going through the whole house, and they're running around, he is leading her by the hand, really frenetically up the staircase, and she just literally flops down onto the stairs, and you barely see her in the shot, but he just keeps running up. And she's just left behind. She just flatlines right there. And the moment for a lot of people who are fans of this movie in a cult capacity, the moment of this movie is when it's the third ending, and everybody's being told that they're the kill. Everybody's killed somebody in this fucking house, she talks about the woman who had slept with her husband, and she was like, I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face. and just this ridiculous moment of like, what are you doing, woman?
A major character shift because it was improv as well.
Yeah, she did this like take multiple times, and the cast around her was saying it just got better every time she did it. And yeah, it's improvised. It's just she's a brilliant comic actress, as you can clearly see a lot more clearly in Mel Brooks films. But she's got a really solid performance for not having much to work with as a character. Like, Miss White's pretty boring otherwise, but she really makes it something. So, my hat's off to Madeline Kahn, R.I.P.
Tristan likes Madeline Kahn.
My pants off, too.
Yeah, she's cool. She's fun.
So, yeah, I don't know, like, shall we start moving towards grading, or do we have some more to talk about here?
We could do like a final thoughts thing,
Yeah,
maybe?
a little roundup, wrap-up. What was...
Yeah.
Let's see. In terms of, placing this in terms of Tim Curry movies, where would you guys place this in his personal career?
Oh, pretty normal. It's like in middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road.
I think it doesn't take full advantage of what his range is, over the top range is, by design.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, like he's kind of like a oh my god, why am I forgetting his name? I knew this moment was going to come. Nicolas Cage. He's like a Nicolas Cage kind of actor, where like depending on what role you put him in and how much freedom you give him is how he shines the most. You know, like Nick Cage.
I was going to say that is the farthest connection of like two actors in my mind that has ever been made.
I see them very similar and like just schlocky actors who bring a lot. Like they kind of take over the films they're in, and depending on how the script is and how much room the director gives the actor to work in, that's the type of shining performance you'd give. So I'd say he's just in the middle of the road. They didn't utilize him to his full capacity. He was all right.
They definitely got their money's worth in hiring him, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. The reason it's a cult classic is because of him. It's no other characters the reason why. It's literally 100% him.
I'd say all these guys, you know, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean, Martin Mull.
All great names, but they're not known for cult films either.
They're not cult. They're cult actors, I'd say. Michael McKean, you know, is always very understated. Like, you know, in Better Call Saul recently, and all the different Christopher Guest movies he was in. Martin Mull didn't act so much, but is a very well-known comedian in the 60s and 70s. He was in, you know, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's all great.
And some of
these are all actors who've been in 50 other movies that no one talks about. But everything Tim Curry is in, even the unpopular stuff, is cult classic. For that reason. The people
Tim Curry did a lot of shit.
Yeah, and people like have weird ideas. Yeah, I'm sure he did, actually. I didn't look up his IMDb. I should have seen how much stuff he's been in, because I'm sure it's pretty epic.
There's some really, he did a lot of like voice work and you know, kids shows in the 90s and things like that. Things that he's not really recognized. It seems like as a voice actor he did quite a bit of work.
He shined. I think his voice acting is definitely, that's the best of his range allows him for his voice acting. He has great face for like certain types of roles, and you can see that in what he's casted, like the sort of parts he's casted for. But voice acting, like he's pretty talented on that. I'll give him that credit.
He looks kind of like when you see one of the old timey pictures of the Joker from like the Batman, like the 50s, where he has the very pointed nose and the high cheekbones and the very narrow face. He looks like the Joker with his makeup off.
He would have been a good Joker. Jack Nicholson didn't take the part. I could see Tim Curry in that movie as the Joker. That would have been interesting. What about you, Tristan?
Oh, I don't know. Like, this is pretty high up for me in terms of his career. Like in the top 5. Like with Rocky Horror probably being the best, and definitely it being right behind there. Clue's probably 3rd for me in terms of his like entire film career, because there isn't that much to work with.
No.
But yeah, placing this like culturally, it is a great cult film, and there's so much that makes it a cult film. Not just Tim Curry, but also the fact that it's a film based on like a board game is ridiculous.
Yeah, you almost well, it doesn't need the board game aspect either. It could have been, if they didn't get the rights to Clue, they could have just removed the character names, and the movie would still kind of stand on its own, story-wise. What's going on? It doesn't need to just be just a generic, board game movie like it could have been. It could have been really, really bad doing a Clue movie, and instead it succeeded.
If it was
in a lot
done
of ways.
today, and I believe they're making a remake of it. Was that canceled or is that already out? I can't remember. I think it might be. I looked it up on Amazon.
Already. It was a teenage reboot.
Okay, I've never seen it, and I can't imagine, but I'm sure it's like pretty lacks most of the charisma that it originally had. There's no way like they're just gonna replace that cast with like younger actors and get the same sort of charm that it has. I would admit that it'll have.
Yeah, no way. I think it got 2 stars.
I believe it. Out of 10. Probably.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. So, but I mean, maybe I was curious. Maybe I should have watched it before we did this, just so I could have gave some perspective. But
how truly terrible my
well,
comparison
how bad it could be if stuff like this is done currently, like making movies out of board games. It's a risky, endeavor.
Haha.
I mean, I'm trying to think besides Battleship, what else is... I know they've been talking about doing a Candyland cartoon for like forever, but it hasn't happened.
Because there's no plot.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, I've read some very, very weird treatments for ideas for a Monopoly movie where it's like
Tim
people
Burton
get transported into the game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess really the best board game movie is probably the Jumanji reboot.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Absolutely.
That's unfair. That's totally unfair. That was
that wasn't a game. That was a movie about a fictitious game.
Yeah, is Lego a game? If Lego is a game,
no,
then
no. Nobody questions if Jumanji is a game. It's just not a game that exists in real life.
Well, that was kind of the prerequisite assumption in meeting the criteria. Yeah. It has to be a game in real life. And Lego is a great movie. It's based on a toy. I don't know.
Well, then from there we can get way into 90s video game movies. You got your Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Super Mario.
Genius. Love it all.
Doom.
Except for Mario.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We should just do a bunch of
House of the
Dead
by the great Uwe Boll.
Oh, my God.
Lord.
I've seen it like 4 times. I had a roommate who loved it. Yeah.
Maybe we can get onto that in October.
Right. Well, that's the thing. We're going to start. Well, we'll get to the next movie recommendation soon.
Yeah. Let's get into final thoughts and ratings.
All right, final thoughts and ratings.
Do you want to start
Zach,
it or end it, Tristan? On the okay, Zach.
Yeah, I guess. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Whoa, that's a rating. I thought you were going to do a
the
final
best
thoughts.
We've given by far.
Right,
I mean,
by far.
The plot does get a little disjointed at the end, but the performances are good. The jokes are great. I mean, compared to some of the stuff we've done over the last few weeks, we don't have a lot to work with. So that's the highest it gets so far. So I'll give it an 8, I guess. Or, well, see, that's the problem with doing these stars. Like, if I do half stars, then I'd say probably 7.5. But if we're going whole stars, I got to go 8.
Okay.
Nice. All right, Josh.
For me.
1.5.
Yeah, no. If I've sounded harsh, like, is this a better movie than Zardoz? Absolutely. This is better than Zardoz. It's not as ambitious as Zardoz, but it doesn't pretend to be either. So it lacks all the pretentious aspects that Zardoz had. The characters are fine. The jokes are quick. It has rewatchability, not necessarily because of good positive reasons. It has rewatchability because you're not going to catch a lot of the things the first, second, or third viewing by design. if that's something you're interested in, is rewatching a movie, especially a comedy mystery, where, I guess the mystery is not even the most important aspect of it, because there's 3 endings, so maybe the mystery is irrelevant, and it's more about the jokes. I don't know. I'll give it a D+.
So
D+.
generous.
Wow.
So generous. D+.
Your generosity knows no bounds, sir.
Hey, we're called movie dicks.
It's true.
And
True,
this
we
is
are
again for
definitely-
you. This is the best Tim Curry movie.
Me? I never said that.
Did you? Well, I don't think we got yours. Was it?
I said it was
Ant-Man?
mid-range. I said it was mid-range.
Yeah, you said it was
Tim
Curry.
mid-range.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I would say it didn't use him to his full potential, but it didn't completely misuse him either. That was all.
Yeah, totally.
What about you, Tristan? This was your pick. Are you offended?
All right. You know what? I'm,
He's offended more on your opinion of Rocky Horror than anything.
Yeah,
that's
I-
anything.
I'm so sorry. Not really.
and we're gonna drug you and kidnap you, take you to a midnight showing against your will.
Yeah, after
Oh
after
my
this
God.
all blows over and stuff opens up again, we're going to one of those, and there's several friends of ours who will go with us, and I think you'll be a little more hospitable then if they dress up. That's all
Yeah,
I'll say.
I'll introduce
You
you,
know
to
who
some
I'm
of the
referring
cast,
to.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get COVID, and then I can thin the herd a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. I'll go with you then.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah, by the way, we just got in a negative
Biological
test.
warfare.
We
Right?
just yesterday learned of a negative test for Josh, so
First time for
take
everything.
of that what you will. Yeah.
If only the chlamydia was... Oh, no, I'm just
It
kidding.
means we have to keep doing
I don't
this
have
podcast
sex.
now, sadly.
Yeah. All right, Tristan, sorry.
So, all right, that's all right. So, I think in summation, I'd definitely give it. I think I'm going to give it the year of its release, 84%.
Whoa, so generous. Okay.
Well,
I
you
mean,
know.
it's nothing offensively bad about it, which is I just feel like it just
You
didn't
gave it a
go.
D plus.
I think that's
Yeah,
why
that's-
he gave it a D+.
That's
Give it
a
a
passing
C.
grade, dude. C is average. This is below average.
What school did you go to?
Hey,
I went
I
to a
passed
public school
biology with
in
a
Ohio.
D+. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
D plus passes, dude. So thank you. It's a passing grade.
From now on, you need to only give past fails. You know?
Well, you could do that. Sort of, some people do different, recommend or thumbs up, thumbs down. No, I like letter grades. I've always done letter grades.
Yeah.
So 84%, you said, Tristan?
84. 84%.
Yeah. We're all
Which is
entitled to our
in
opinion.
line with mine if we're doing whole stars. So
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. I think it's a generational thing.
Well, what I want to know now is Josh, what would you
Yeah,
think?
quiet
Is,
down, boomer. JK. RJK.
Rolling.
I'm pretty sure we're all technically millennials.
I'm at the cusp. Of
Josh
Gen
is
X and
questionable.
millennial. It's strange. All right, Zach, what were you going to ask me?
well. Now I'm just wondering what it is that you would give an A to.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh.
Don't you worry. So,
It's your pick, yeah. So we should.
yeah,
we should
is it
get
my
to
pick?
that,
Should I
yeah.
go to my pick? All right. So,
Yes.
So we have Halloween coming up, my favorite month of the year. And because of that, I want to stick with a nice horror movie. This one is very nostalgic for me because I used to love scary stories. And one day when I was a wee kid, I found this book at the library and it had the most disturbing artwork on the cover in black
I
and
know what
white
it
with
is.
little blotches of red. And I was like, what is this? And I picked it up, and it was a collection of scary stories. And I would read them at campfires and Boy Scouts or with the family. And yes, if you haven't deciphered what it is by now, it's
I'm at a
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the
Yep.
movie that came out
Oh,
in
shit.
2019, I believe. Maybe 2018, one of those two.
It's not Jack Black and Goosebumps.
No, God, no. Oh, my God.
It's going to be my pick.
Oh no! I quit the show. You two can. I'm calling in sick. I
I need a vacation.
I need a vacation. God damn it!
and by the way, since we're starting now, we'll both get 2 Halloween picks in by the time the month of October is over, and we can roll right into whatever it is that we're going to do in November before the Christmas season begins. So we're going to have 6 straight weeks of horror. So get ready for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Just like my
Oh.
life, except it's not 6 straight weeks. It's 12 straight months. God.
Fucking A, boys.
Yeah.
I'd say we stuck a pin in it. We solved the mystery of Wait, no, we haven't solved the mystery. What was it that Zach was referring to? I want to know what this experience, that story was, Josh.
Which experience?
What
In
is
regards
your
to what?
what is your dark secret about Tim Curry?
I don't have a
What-
dark secret.
what
My
dark
dark secret
secret?
is I dislike him, or I don't find him charming.
That's it.
Oh, yeah,
That's
no,
it.
that was a joke. Just before the podcast, we were discussing it, and he was mentioning how much
Yeah.
he hates that, and I said that we had to get into that about his hatred of Tim Curry and Rocky Horror. And
I would. It's a very passive hatred, though. It's not like some other actors. He's fine. Whatever. Live your life.
We'll get to those films, hopefully.
I can't help if you have
pick
bad
one
taste.
accidentally.
Yeah. Oh no. You're gonna make us do the Rocky Horror one day. I know it. One of you two
we're
are.
gonna do whatever the. Well, the good news is there's a new Adam Sandler Halloween movie coming out on Netflix in a few weeks. So
Nice!
Wow. We might
Keep
have to
an
do
eye
that
out.
one. Yeah. I mean, why not? I'm totally down to be like made more miserable than I am by watching him flounder through another film. I don't like him at all. I'm not gonna.
Oh
I
no.
don't like a lot of people apparently.
Well,
I'm
we
a,
like
maybe.
you.
No, maybe I'm a dick. Thank you, Tristan.
You are. You're the dick.
You'll receive the money.
You're the dick that got us to do movie dicks. So,
Exactly. We did it.
round of applause.
I
for
think
you,
that.
sir.
Thank you. I think this is like this will be the part where I'm just gonna fade out. If I unless there's anything you guys want to add, I can do a quick thing too. We can stop at any moment.
No.
I think it's weird and unenjoyable and aesthetically repulsive, and every character involved, and like every song, every movement, every shot is like glistened sweat from like an old dying person's body who's like in an overheated like emergency room bed, and it's just painful. I just imagine that's what you watch in Hell's Waiting Room, and it's just I can't do it.